Before starting this review, I had played Dawn of War 3 for an hour during one of its free events, and being a fan of the original Dawn of War and having heard some pretty negative things about this third iteration, I thought I should give it a go for myself. And throughout all of this week, I have been playing through the campaign, the tutorial, but not the multiplayer. More on that in a bit. But first, what is Dawn of War 3? It's a real-time strategy game that sees you playing as three factions from the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Space Marines, the roided-up super soldiers from the Imperium of Man, the Eldar, an elegant and regal dying race, and the Orcs, angry mushrooms that will kill you through the power of belief in themselves. That's a thing. That's a thing that they do. As you play, you will be building up your army and your base. And because I hadn't played in a long time, I thought it best to play through the tutorial first. And oh my god, that was a mistake. Of all of the tutorials from all of the games that I have ever played, this one was probably the most painful to endure. While it does its job in telling you what to do and how to play, it's just so painfully slow. For example, there's part of the tutorial that tells you that you can heal your units by putting them next to a building, which comes quite nicely after a fight, so you're likely to have some wounded units, which makes sense. The tutorial tells you to go and heal your special hero unit by one of these buildings. And so, you walk your slow hero all the way over to the building, then heal him up to full, waiting, as it happens, nothing else to do, which could be a minute because the buildings don't heal that fast. You just sat there. And this sort of stuff is littered throughout the tutorial, just making it that much slower than it needs to be. After a while, I just gave up and decided that I would play the campaign instead. At least that way I would get some story. The campaign itself, at least what I could play in the free time that I had over the past week, sees you playing as these three factions in rotation from mission to mission. And the objectives of the last mission impacts what you'll be doing on your next mission, which is nice as it makes the story feel more coherent. As the game starts, you're playing as the Blood Ravens, a group of space marines led by Gabriel Angelos, who is looking to protect a fortress from an orcish attack. Then in the next mission, you're playing as the orcs, recoiling from just having been pushed out of the attack from the fortress. As the story develops, you learn that the Eldar are there to reclaim an ancient relic called the Spear of Cain as the planet of Acheron emerges from the warp, as it does every 100 years. And unfortunately, that's as far as I got in the campaign, as I only had a week of free time to play it. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. It's fully voiced and has plenty of cutscenes and animatics to fill you in on the story details, as well as plenty of voice lines that play as you progress through a mission. These missions are fun takes on typical RTS gameplay, with each mission unfolding and the objective changing as you play through it. Some missions will give you a timer, other missions will give you a limited number of units, as well as a couple of other things for you to keep an eye out for. My biggest issue with the gameplay though is that it just feels really slow. Now, that may be on me and how I like to play RTSs and RTS campaigns. I enjoy building up a massive force, then rolling into where I need to, but even when I had all of the resource points fully upgraded, I was gaining the resources at such a slow rate that I could only build a unit every minute or so, which just leads to a whole load of waiting around. So at certain points when I was sure that I'd be heading into a heavily defended area, I'd want to build up my force. And in order to do that, I would just be sitting around for 10 minutes while I wait for units to slowly appear. Not that fun. But when I wasn't waiting around for units, the missions were varied and actually pretty fun to play. And I'll be finishing the campaign probably over the course of the next month. And now comes the multiplayer, which I didn't play. Why didn't I play? Because there's no one there. I waited for a 2v2 game for about half an hour. I didn't get one. So instead, I played the versus AI, which you can do. It's technically not multiplayer because it's just me versus an AI, but I can at least see what the game mode is supposed to be like. And it's odd. Like any other RTS of this type, you build up your base and gather resources, and then build your units. However, I think in order to prevent rushes, a type of gameplay which focuses on getting loads of small, cheap units to attack your opponent while they're still setting up, and is generally considered unfun to go up against, they have these shields which prevent you from dealing damage to the main core, which is very reminiscent of MOBAs. Games like League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm have a central core which you have to defend. This type of gameplay is a massive departure from all other games in the series and RTSs in general. While destroying your opponent's base is how you win normally, in this case you fight through the shield generator on 2 lanes of the map, then fight through a turret which will really hurt the weaker units, and only when those are taken down can you actually deal damage to the core. It's definitely a unique take on RTSs and RTS mechanics. I just don't think it's a great one. So, overall, is Dawn of War 3 worth playing in 2020? The story is interesting, but slow. The multiplayer is dead, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to wait around half an hour for one game. If you have a circle of friends that's going to be playing it with you, then that doesn't matter. And if you're looking for a fun single-player Warhammer game, there are better ones out there. But on the other hand, there are worse ones that you could be buying instead. If you think you want to try it out for yourself, I would wait for it to go on sale. Massive sale. £5, $5 or less. But that's it for this video. If you liked it, don't forget to like it. And if you found it useful and you want to see more, well, there's a subscribe button down there, and I'm sure you know what to do with it. And until next time, did you know I'm English? Cheerio.